In this video, I went through my entire mouse collection and I gave you guys my favorite recommendations for the 3 major clicking methods in Minecraft PvP. In each category, I'll give you my unlimited budget pick as well as some affordable alternatives. Jumping right into butterfly clicking, my favorite unlimited budget pick is the glorious Model D wireless. This is one of the Glorious's latest mice and honestly my favorite that they've made. The button surface area should fit a large range of finger widths, and thanks to their improved switches, the click feeling is noticeably crisp and should last a longer time, unlike previous Glorious mice. As far as CPS goes, it's the same as the Model O wireless, which can be pretty high in butterfly clicking. On top of this, it hosts some other likable qualities outside of CPS. I find the shape good for medium to larger hands that use claw palm grip. The weight is pretty light at 69 grams, but I wish it had better feet. When it comes to build quality and QC, you may remember my bad experience, but by the looks of it, most people aren't experiencing this and are actually getting a good experience in those regards. So it will likely be good for you. But what probably won't be good for you is if you're a right-click butterfly clicker. Due to the way the right click is shaped, it kind of felt uncomfortable and awkward when I was butterfly clicking, so I would rely on the left click for butterfly clicks on this mouse. This mouse also fits the needs of many drag clickers, gets a lot of CPS, with an adjustable debounce time. Jittering is solid, I wouldn't call it S tier, but yeah, overall, the Glorious Model D wireless for 80 bucks is a pretty well-rounded Minecraft mouse, especially in butterfly clicking. One alternative is the HyperX Pulse Fire Haste. For $40, it's currently one of my favorite value options. Switches used on the Haste are on the lighter side while still feeling crisp. Butterfly clicking pretty much feels effortless in my opinion, and I can easily reach 20 plus CPS on it. The big downside is that the buttons are slim and approximately 1 inch wide, so people with wider fingers will not enjoy it for butterfly. Also, it's not really reliable for long drag clicking, but short drag clicking is fine. Other than that, I feel like it's a pretty well-rounded mouse, especially for the current $40 price point. A wise man once said, the build quality is yummy. The shape is nothing crazy in my opinion, but definitely solid for my hands. Depending on your jitter form, it's also pretty nice for that as well because it has the really lightweight switches. Also, remember to install the software and download the latest firmware if you want it to double click, but remember that it doesn't have an adjustable debounce time, so be careful which servers you take it on. But other than that, a really good option for $40 in my opinion. Now the last alternative is the Model O wireless. Now I know I haven't had the best pass with the Model O family, but given its current sale, I think it deserves some recognition. Considering that it's currently $64, it's a pretty good option for butterfly clicking and also drag clicking, not so much jitter clicking in my experience. Although the shape isn't my favorite and it's not the most high quality mouse ever, it's definitely still viable in my opinion. It's also pretty light at 69 grams and Glorious did improve their build quality from the wired Model O. Ultimately, I would still recommend getting the Model D wireless over this if you can make up the $15 price difference, but if not, this is a solid option if you want to go wireless without breaking the bank. But the sale only lasts for a few more days, and at its regular $80 price point, I would just say get the Model D wireless over this because it has better features in my opinion. My favorite unlimited budget mouse for jitter clicking has got to be the Logitech G Pro Superlights. The clicks on this mouse, although they do not use the best switches, have been implemented and altered in a way where they feel good and also really lightweight. The weight mixed with the low travel ultimately results in a good jitter clicking experience in my opinion. If you're looking for double clicking, this is not the one for you. Aside from clicks, I also feel like this mouse performs really well in general aspects. The build quality is top of the line, and I also like the shape and the 61 gram weight as well. Talking on the steep price of $130 currently or $150 when there aren't any sales, this is mainly for those who are very serious about PvP, have money to collect mice, and/or play FPS games on the side, because I feel like it also dominates there as well in my opinion. You can also look into the original G Pro wireless if you want to save money, because from what I hear, it's the same mouse, just heavier, but I don't own one, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, the Superlight is my personal favorite for jitter clicking with an unlimited budget. Two timeless alternatives are the Logitech G203 and the Razer Viper Mini. These two mice are some of the cheapest as of Black Friday, the G203 being $20 and the Viper Mini being about $30. These are both really good options for jitter clicking in my opinion, and it just boils down to preference for which one you should buy. The G203 uses mechanical switches similar to but not as good as the Superlight, and the Viper Mini uses opticals, which some people don't like but some people do like. Both shapes are what I consider small but still usable for many hands. The G203 is heavier at 85 grams compared to the 61 gram counterpart. Both could use better feet and a better cable, but when considering the price, it's really something you just can't complain about. So based on what you know about them, it really just comes down to what sounds better to you and your playstyle, and I honestly don't think you can go wrong when it comes to jitter clicking for either one. Like I mentioned before, these are timeless, they've been around for quite a while now, and are still some of the best budget performers out there. If you want an ergonomic alternative, there's the Logitech G703. This mouse is very light click, similar to the Superlight, and are very easy to jitter on in my experience. It also hosts one of my favorite ergonomic shapes that I feel like are better for medium to larger hands. The build quality is amazing, but it's definitely on the heavier side, coming in around 95 grams with pretty bad stock feet that I feel like should definitely be switched out for something from the aftermarket. Overall, I feel like it holds great value as a wireless mouse and easily one of the better jitter clicking mice for those who want a slow glide. Before I talk about drag clicking, let me take a brief moment to talk about some products sent to me from Govee and Grid Studio. Govee sent me their glide wall lay and their immersion kit with light bars, and they're two things that really added some color to my room. The wall lay is an easy alternative to pricier things from Nanoleaf or LifeX. It's currently $75, which really isn't a bad deal at all for those who are looking to something to add some flavor to the room. The immersion kit with light bars, which is meant to be put in a TV environment, also added some color around my desk, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen the light bars around. I think it's great for a nice pop of color, but for $130, I feel like that's a little bit too steep, and I'd rather just get something like the Glide Wall Light. But overall, you can tell Govee had the mission of implementing RGB well in products without making it look too cheap, and they accomplished that in my opinion. Talking about Grid Studio, they sent me some artwork of the iPhone 4S. Personally, I really like the mature take it went with. This, along with many other electronics they do, can be pretty pricey, but if you check their website out around the time of this video being uploaded, you may be able to catch some sales. Thank you, Govee and Grid Studio. You guys have helped me make my setup look better. For dry clicking, my favorite unlimited budget mouse is the Rocket Cone Pro Air. It recently got a software update that allows it to dry click just like the Cone Pro with an adjustable debounce time. As you've probably seen, the CPS potential is crazy, and the mouse has a really nice coating that does not require tape to dry click on it if you don't want to. Aside from dry clicking, the butterfly click performance surprisingly isn't spectacular. It can get 20 CPS, but not consistently in my experience. Jitter clicking is solid, but it does have a dull click feeling, so it may not be ideal for a lot of people. Aside from clicks, the mouse is easily one of the best in terms of general qualities. I found the shape to be good for claw and palm grip, the weight is light, and overall it just has good build quality. Currently, it's $90, and it's a great option for drag clicking if you want something that can also double up as a nice PvP mouse. An alternative would be the Rocket Cone Pro, which is basically the same exact mouse, just wired and slightly lighter. It's currently $50, which is the price point I would buy it at. When the Cone Pro Air and the Cone Pro are at the original prices of $130 and $80, it's a tough recommendation because the price to performance ratio starts to fade. But considering the current sales, they're great picks in my opinion. Another mouse some of you may have expected me to say is the bloody A70 family. Obviously, those mice are great for drag clicking, especially the coating. The A70 is about $50 currently, and shipping can be really expensive for certain countries, so value just isn't great in my opinion. If you mainly focus on drag clicking and don't really PvP other players that much, then it ultimately doesn't matter too much which mouse you go with between Bloody and Rocket. You may even prefer the A70 family because of its heavier weight and ability to stay in place. You can't argue that one mouse gets more CPS than the other, but at that point, I just don't think it's productive. Both these mice are in their own top tier lane of CPS, to the point where it practically doesn't matter which one gets more. But if you know you like to PvP time to time, the Cone Pro family is my favorite. I wish I had more alternatives that weren't Rocket or Bloody, but to be honest, I really don't own any other mice that can drag click the same way these can. Now, those are my top picks for the 3 major clicking methods, but I also want to end off this video on something very important. When it comes to gaming, there's a lot of preference in between the user and the peripherals themselves. What works for you may not work for everyone else, and what works for everyone else may not work for you. At the end of the day, as long as you can feel comfortable with what you have, that is what matters most. Minecraft is also not a game that relies on always having the best mice possible, so I'd always recommend building up your PvP skills before dropping a lot of money on peripherals as well. This doesn't mean getting good mice is pointless, it just means that the mouse isn't always the most important thing. Peace.